Hello and welcome back, my friends. What is up? What's happening? My name is Brendan Osborne. You might know me better as Control for Days. Today we are going to jump into a modern league with black-green Yawgmoth. Today's list is the list that has been popularized by MTGO streamer and Yawgmoth enthusiast Demonic Tutors. DT has put up some of the best results with Yawgmoth in the world. And for that reason, we are going to be playing his list today. This list was actually very similar to where I started when I first began playing the deck. He was one of the people who inspired me to play Yawgmoth, and I have not looked back since then. His list has changed a little bit since then, but the core of it is still pretty much the same. So his mana base, a little bit different than mine. He has shaved a Blooming Marsh and a fetch land to make room for an Urborg and a Yavimaya. Those were two cards that I used to run, but I discontinued running them. Mostly the Urborg, the reason being I find that just mono black sources are a little bit of a liability, but there is some definite upside to running mono black or running Urborg, particularly the life prevention of life loss from using the card. In addition to that, his list is very, very streamlined, so it's a lot of 4-ups. The biggest difference is he has 1 Endurance, 4 Wall of Roots. He is not running a Prosperous Innkeeper, which is my preference, and he has 4 Eldritch Evolutions. Sideboard, once again, very, very streamlined. 4 Thoughtseize, 2 Necromentia, 3 Endurance to fill out the play set, 2 Force of Vigor, and instead of my 3rd Force of Vigor, he's running a Crime Punishment, a card I used to run, and I think is very strong, and periodically consider bringing it back. He's got a Liberator instead of the Haywire Might, and his 15th card that he's been running recently is a Shaper's Sanctuary. It's actually a card I've considered playing because of the popularity of Scam, just Fury decks in general. That's the main consideration to play this card. I think it's got potential, so I'm eager to test it out today, and hopefully it comes up in a match or two. So with all of that being said, we're going to jump into this league. Let's see how DT's Yawg list performs when under the lights. All right, everybody, this is round 1 of our Modern League with Demonic Tutors Yawg. We are playing against Tolarian Raya, and we are on the play. Let's do it. Let's see how DT's list performs. Opening 7, a little slow, but I think it's a keep. We're going to run with it. Our opponent mulligans to 6, to 5. All right, and they keep their 5-card hand. Turn 1, we're going to play out our Tomb tapped and just pass the turn. Nothing much to do here. Their turn 1, they lead on a City of Brass. So to me, this says that we are potentially playing against Dredge. And for that reason, I don't think they actually have any basic lands. So I might actually besage you their land. Either end step or draw step, depending on what they do here. So I think that's actually going to be the move. We'll see if they cast a spell on the end step. Okay, they do, the Gaze. I forgot the name of it, but that was the card I was thinking of. So we'll see what they hit here, and then we're going to shuffle their library here. Tomb Scour, okay. And we're going to besage you this. I don't think they have any basics. Typical lists don't. We'll see if they do. Oh, I forgot they can get more than just a basic. Duh, that was stupid. That was, okay, so punt 1. Punt 1. Alright, and they don't have another land here. So it did pull them off of blue mana, but at the same time, they still have access to like a Dark Blast if they have one. So we'll see if something had Dark Blasted. I think they would have done it already had they had it. I think you hit the Hierarch there before I moved to combat, so we'll see. Maybe they just clicked through it or not. Yeah, okay, so they clicked through it. We'll get an extra point of damage in there, but they are now going to be able to have dredging online. Okay, and they did not dredge. Looks like they are going to be Thrilling Discovery. So they'll dredge 3 off the Dark Blast, We'll see what else they have. They have an Ox and 2 Dark Blast. 2 and an Imp. Imp hits a Creeping Chill, and then they'll get a Ghoul back. They have double Ox in the graveyard, so I need to get rid of those ASAP. So, with that being said, I am going to be getting my Endurance here, and hoping they don't have another thrilling discovery. I know that they have 2 double Dark Blast. Let's see, where's Endurance? There's Endurance. Okay, so this will prevent the Prized Amalgam from coming back. Good. Now they will be able to reset because they do have Dark Blast in hand, but it will take them a turn or 2 to hit that. Alright, we're going to take the 3 just because we don't want to get our Endurance Dark Blasted. And now the race is on. So they fetch Shocked, and they're going to hard cast a Stinkweed. That's kind of annoying. We can't really just run through that. And Stinkweed, it's problematic. It's their best Dredger as well, so they're going to be able to buy themselves some time with that. Okay, they Dark Blast our token here. I wonder if they... I can't imagine they're going to swing into our Grist. They're up to 4 lands. Surprising they didn't bring back the Dark Blast. There's 3. Okay, we'll let them hit that for 3. That's fine. This matchup is much trickier, only having 1 Endurance in the main deck as opposed to 2. Second Stinkweed, I imagine. Okay, a Silver Smoke. That's cool. Generally, I'd say this matchup is very favored for Yawgmoth. Alright, we're going to tick this up. Court of Calling, we would have liked to have had that. And now, Wall of Roots is going to serve as a nice blocker. I'm actually going to leave that on 5 just so they can't Dark Blast it, and then we'll get our Young Wolf into play as well. So build out our board presence a little bit here. I think their last card in hand is another Dark Blast. Dredge the one they have, I would imagine. Okay, they have a Thug in the graveyard now. So not too much of a difference between Thug and Stinkweed. You get 1 extra Dredge off of it. Okay, Dark Blast down. We'll do our blocks like this. They're down to 11 life here. Sacrifice and Dredge. I forgot about that effect, but that is pretty powerful. And that's actually really good for them because they're going to be able to bring the Ghoul right back. And now they have an Ox on their next turn, which is really good for them. But fortunately for us, I think we might be able to just nab the win here. Alright, so we're going to uptick, play out our Geist, and we're going to Cord. No, we'll play out the bird first and then Cord. Then we do kind of need to, we need to get the kill this turn. Alright, so we'll get our Yawgmoth here. And now the pressure is on to find another Court of Calling. We can win without another Cord here, but I think it's going to be challenging. There's also a consideration to just wait, let them Ox, see if they hit a bunch of cards to potentially kill us, and then go from there. It will shave down on our life a little bit though. I could minus the Imp with my Geist, proliferate and hit for 8, but it's not really where I want to be. Okay, I'm gonna pass from here and see what happens from this point forward. I guess I could have swung for 2 as well, but once again, it doesn't really matter. Blood Artist is our out here. I imagine they Dredge, getting Dark Blast into their hand. And they have Dark Blast and Thug in their hand. So, double Dark Blast and Thug now. Ox is going to come back. 1, 2... Okay, they're going to get quite a few Dredges here. Alright, those are going to be my blocks. No minus on the Imp. Save ourselves a point of damage here. And then I think I might just let this happen. Yeah, I'm just going to let damage happen here. Then we'll go from there. Okay, they Dark Blast their own Stinkweed. And the reason they're doing that is because of the Ox. So they need 2 Creeping Chills, the last 2 in the deck, to be able to kill us. Okay, double Amalgam will come back into play. This is a very close game. There's 1 Creeping Chill. Alright, we're still alive here. We're going to go down to 3 life though. Lots of creatures. Okay. So triggering 2 amalgams, 3 amalgams, and a silver smote as well. And they do have a dark blast in hand. I believe they have a dark blast in hand. Let me just double check. Oh, they do not. They have imp, thug, thug. Okay, so we kind of have the green light to try to find. Okay, so they're at 17 life. We can swing in. I think we should be able to kill them here. So, add a mana with the Wall of Roots, sacrifice it minus the Ox. Add a mana with the Birds of Paradise, sacrifice, hit the Ox, hit the Narcomoeba with the Geist. So 2, 3, so it's 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I think we're good here. We're gonna go down to 1 life here. Oh, actually we're gonna be the Ox. All right, that was actually pretty good. We're gonna proliferate our Yawg, discard a Yawg. We're short one life. If we had 1 more life, we'd be able to do a lot more. Okay, we're gonna proliferate again, discard, plus, plus, done. I think this should be lethal. Oh, I gotta wait a second here. So we're gonna minus the Grist, 8 them. I think this is lethal here. Minus the Geist, target the Narcomoeba, and then swing for lethal. And we got there. Okay. At 1 life. Very, very close. Whew. Okay, post board. We're gonna bring in these guys, and then I think we're gonna bring in a Force of Vigor as well. I think we're gonna bring in those 6 cards. Boarding out Grist is not very good in this matchup. Probably gonna get rid of some number of birds. Like, they're gonna have Leyline of Sanctity, that's the biggest thing. Ooze, Force of Vigor. Maybe I bring in a second one of these and shave. I don't hate shaving a Geist. I think we'll probably do that, shave a Geist. And we'll go with this. Actually, maybe I should have kept the Geist. I should have shaved on a Chord of Calling or 2. That was a mistake. All right, this is game 2. Okay, this is game 2 of our modern match against Dredge. Our opponent mulligans to 6. I think we're going to follow suit. We're a little short on land, mana, all the above. Our 6-card hand, I think, is strong, so we're going to keep this. And then I think we're going to get rid of... Yawg and go with this. All right, they kept 6. We're on 6. See how this goes. Ignoble's weak to Dark Blast, so if they have that, it's gonna be unfortunate. But okay, they don't have a ley line, which is really good for us. We draw into a second chord. Feels like they're F6'd. I hope that's the case. I hope our Ignoble survives. We kind of need him to. It doesn't look like it though, them getting a Blood Crypt here. So drawing a 3rd land would be really good for us. They put a Stinkweed into the yard. I just need to make sure I'm not F6'd, as we are, I think, likely, this is going to be a cathartic reunion. We're likely going to need to use an Endurance this turn. So they discard a Thug and a Silver Smote. They're going to be able to dredge at least 9 cards. 5. Interesting, they brought in Path to Exile. Okay, so a Narcomoeba, an Ox, Creeping Chill, and a Silver Smote. So it's not too good, but I think it's still worthwhile dumping that and making them reset here. Pretty much just time walks them. Yes, we do lose a card, but they're down cards as well. We're going to play out our Catacombs. That was a good draw. We wanted a land there. So they have 5 cards in hand. We know 3 of them are Dredgers. And there's an Narcomoeba, sure. And at this point, despite the fact that we only have 3 cards in hand, it feels like we're pretty far ahead. We'll play out our Besage You, and I'm going to play out my Wall of Roots here too. If they draw into like another Cathartic Reunion, that would be really bad right now, but you know, with the exception of that, I think playing out the Wall of Roots is the right move. We will take a hit for 1. I actually played Dredge for quite some time, so I'm very familiar with the interactions and the list. Okay, Yawg, not too shabby. So we're about to turn off from just winning the game, basically. We did see a Path to Exile, so we do need to keep that on our radar if they find a white source. All right, Narcomoeba number 2. Yeah, this is pretty anemic. And it's also 2 Narcomoebas that are out of their deck, so if they do get to Dredge, they're not going to have access to those 2. All right, our turn. Now we get to go ham a little bit. 1, 2, we'll play out our Wall of Roots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to get myself my messenger, and we're going to start chipping away at their life here. Okay, and they just scoop from there. Pretty straightforward. See, we need to find a green card for our Endurance JIC, and our Dryad Arbor was coming up, so that would have done the job. Okay, we are 2-0, or 1-0. 2-0 in games. All right, my friends, we are back. This is match 2 of our Modern League. We are playing against Einstein 9998. We are on the play with Demonic Tutors Yawg. Let's go. Lego. Okay, opening 7. A little slow, but I think this time's a keep being on the play, so we're gonna run with it. Okay, opponent keeps a 7-card hand. We're gonna lead on our fetch land, and we're gonna shock at the end of their turn, or get a shock land. We're not gonna shock ourselves for no reason. And then pass the turn. Their turn 1. Let's see what they're doing. Urza's Tower. Okay, good. We have a Boseiju available to us. Yield until the end step. So they are playing a Tron variant, which I have been getting my butt kicked by as of recently. Doesn't feel good, but what are you going to do? So because we're going to be using this Boseiju, I do need to hit another land at some point. That would be useful. And the fact they kept a 7-card hand to me says that... Okay, so this is Eldrazi Tron. So a little bit better of a matchup than... Or not a better matchup, but a little bit better of a situation right now. Okay, and they chalice on 1, which is actually good for us. That I am okay with. So from here, given the fact they only have 1 Tron land, I think I'm actually just going to build out my board state here. So I think I'm going to go and play my Grist. So we're going to play the Boseiju here. Conversely, if I find another black source next turn, I can just go for the win, so maybe that's the move. Maybe I go Wall of Roots. Yeah, I think that's more mana efficient. And our hand actually lines up really well against a Chalice on 1, so this is good. I think in my last video, or 2 videos ago, I played against Eldrazi Tron, and a card that they're playing now that they weren't playing previously is Karn's Silex, so that's definitely something I do need to keep on my radar as a board wipe. Can be pretty devastating. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, your Chalice countered your Relic. Womp. Mishra's Bauble, not something you normally see? That's a weird one. Not used to that one. Alright, go Black Source. Black Source. We got there. Alright. We are in business. So we're going to fetch here. We are not going to shock, pull a counter. And the reason I'm starting by doing this is because we're going to be attacking with the Geist, so we'll at least get an extra point of damage in here. And I'm going to draw a large handful of cards here. And we are looking for Court of Calling specifically. Not really in danger of them killing us on their turn. Okay, we got there. Alright, cool. We're up 1. Up 1. Feels good. And they scoop. Okay, game 2 against Eldrazi Tron. I don't know about Crime Punishment, probably not. And this is one of those situations where I really like having a full play set of Thoughtseizes. Against this deck, Thoughtseize is very strong. So we'll bring in all 4 of those. We'll bring in 2 Force of Vigor. We'll bring in the Liberator. And in terms of cuts, I'm going to shave down on Evos. They do have counter spells for Evos, so I am going to avoid those circumstances. Geist or Yawgmoth, I think we can shave down on Wall of Roots. I think we can probably shave 3 of them. 2. Wall of Roots is a good blocker, but it does get hit by the same card I was just talking about that counters sorceries. Warping Whale, that's the one I'm looking for. I think we're going to cut 2 birds, and then probably a wolf as well, and we'll go with this. The reason I'm keeping Endurance in my list is just the utility of being able to use it for a chord. They mulligan to 6. This hand is really close. I like the Thoughtseize. If we just pull another land, we're in really good shape. We are under the threshold of what I would want from a mana perspective. This would be a very, very risky keep though. This is very, very close. My heart is telling me yes, my gut is telling me no. This is a tempting hand. I think I'm gonna mull it. This hand's definitely weaker, but it's got mana, so I think we're gonna stick with this. And I'll probably get rid of the Urborg. No, I'll probably get rid of the Swamp and keep the Urborg. It'll save us some life with this Peat land here. Okay, they have 3 cards in hand. Thoughtseize, not too shabby. I wonder if we lead on the Thoughtseize. No, I think on their turn they're probably going to use the map. So whatever they thoughts, or whatever I Thoughtseize into, won't be super relevant. If they don't use the map, I can pop it with the Liberator here. It's good to see Liberator again. I haven't played with this card in a little while. Miss you, old friend. Alright, so that would be a reason to pop off the turn 1 Thoughtseize there. But I think we're going to dump the Stone Brain with our Liberator here. Later. I would like my Yawgmoths in my deck, thank you very much. The fact that they went mine, to me, suggests a little bit of weakness. I'm guessing they get an Eldrazi land here. Oh, they get a power plant, interesting. Okay, and now we should be able to empty out our hand for the most part. Peat land. Let's lead on Thoughtseize, see what they're working with here. Alright, so Ballista is kind of annoying. Karn, I think we can deal with Karn. They can't really cast it, so I think if they do the Ballista on 1, Ballista on 2, they can potentially wipe our board here. So I think I'm going to take the Ballista. I guess I could play around that a little bit, but and like hold the bird in my hand. But I think this is what we're going to go with. I guess if they go like bridge into Karn on the following turn, that could be kind of annoying because it could be tough to get rid of the Karn, but then again we do have the Force of Vigor, so Tablet, they took the Saga. Okay, so they play out a power plant, and then I think they're going to play out the bridge, but we'll be able to dump their land and their bridge here. So I guess this could potentially be Prison Tron. This actually looks like Prison Tron. It doesn't look like Eldrazi Tron, so the decks do play out a little bit differently. Particularly, this is not an aggressive deck. It's a prison deck. OBV. Okay, so we're going to dump these 2. We are lacking a little bit of pressure here, so I would like to draw into something that gives me a little bit more leverage here. Alright, they're going to draw out their Mishra's Bauble. They're going to play, see if they have another land. They do not. They have a map though, which is going to get them their 3rd Tron land. So based on the fact I'm playing against this list and not against Eldrazi Tron, which is what I thought I was playing against, I think we're likely going to be bringing in our Necromencias for game 3. Okay, another Geist. I think I'm going to lead by drawing a card. Yeah, but Maya doesn't really do anything. And they're going to be able to get another bridge on their turn and cast it with the Karn. Yeah, maybe that was a mistake earlier in the game, taking the Ballista instead of the Karn. Alright, and we're going to have perfect mana for the rest of the game with our Yawgmoth here. I'm just going to play it out. So for us, what we really want to see is a Chord of Calling, a Yawgmoth, something along those lines. We have already used 2 of our artifact removal spells, so we only have 3 left in the deck, 2 Besejus and another Force of Vigor. Okay, there's the bridge, like suspected. They do have 2 cards in hand still. Okay, they have 1 card in hand. They have 0 cards in hand. Okay, so we've got some work to do here. So best draw for us at this point is probably like a Beseju, and that is not it. And I think I'm actually just going to hold this in hand just in case they can wipe our board, which they very well might be able to do on this turn. This might just be game. I know they have some cards out of their sideboard. I think there's 1 card in particular that just prevents players from drawing cards. And that might be... Okay, yeah, so the noose is tightening a little bit here. So, yeah, I think the wrong move, taking the Ballista as opposed to the Karn earlier in the game. We're really getting punished for this at this point. But we'll be on the play game 3, which is going to be very good. I just misjudged and misread the matchup. All right, there's a Stonebrain. That's interesting. So they're going to hit our Yawgmoths. They're going to get some more information as well, but we could potentially beat this if we get something like a Grist. Also, if we top deck an Ignoble, we can take out the Karn here. Stonebrain named Yawgmoth. And there we go, all 4. All 4 of our namesake. Okay, Geist number 3. Not going to do anything. We will just yield through the turn. So because I'm not playing against... this is kind of funny. Just Stonebrains galore. And now it's going to be very, very difficult to win from this point. I guess the take from here... Okay, they took Force of Vigor. Interesting. I think Grist would have probably been the card I would have named there, but... Okay, so that's good. So here we are going to... We're going to get rid of the Karn. And let me just make sure that's the best option. I think it is. We'll sacrifice one of these guys. Kill the Karn. Alright, so they're playing off the top now. Playing off the top with infinite mana. They do have quite a few like Pithing Needle effects as well. It's a pretty good draw. They put Blast Zone into their hand. The thing is if they Blast Zone for 3, we'll see if they do that or not. It will get rid of their bridge, so that's an important thing to keep in mind here. And I think we just pass from here. I guess if they Blast Zone for 3, they can Welding Jar their bridge. We'll see if they have that on their radar or not. Based on the fact that they played their Relic into their Chalice last game, I don't know if they're thinking about that. We'll see. They exiled an Urza's Tower off the Mystic Forge that they just put into play. And our turn. Uptick our Grist. Blood Artist into the graveyard. Kind of annoying. I really, really hope they dump this Blast Zone here. Okay, they drew into an Expedition map. Or I guess that was on top of their library with the Mystic Forge. Their engine is really, really online at this point, so it's likely going to snowball out of control. This is very similar to Hammer Time if they have a reality chip. Okay, and they have Inventor's Fair too, so pretty much game over here. Let's see what they get. They get a Pithing Needle. They're going to hit our Grist. And that is why they call this Prison Tron. Because we are pretty much locked out of the game at this point. Alright, I'm going to scoop it up. I think they have established their lock, and I don't think we're going anywhere from that point forward. Alright, match 3, I'm going to bring in Necromancias, and I think it's worthwhile to bring in our Crime Punishment as well. Young Wolf is really bad. We're getting rid of Young Wolf. And I think some number of birds potentially as well. I'm going to get rid of one more bird. No, one more wall. I think I'm going to keep 2 birds, and we're going to get rid of a... Court is kind of good. Okay, I think because they're Prison Tron, I think we shave on Grists here. And I'm going to bring a 3rd Evo back in, just to try to help us find our Yawg sooner. Okay, Let's see how this goes. Okay, so we have a bajillion Thoughtseizes, but we're short on mana. We're gonna mulligan this hand down to 6. Our 6 card hand is a little bit lackluster. I don't know if this is gonna get the job done, but I think we have to try this. And we'll put a chord back. So we're gonna play out our Hierarch and pass the turn. I expect this to survive this turn. Mine, Welding Jar. Okay. So I'm gonna play out a bird. And I think I might actually just pass the turn from here. I don't think the 1 damage is as important as us being able to cast Yawgmoth next turn. So the reason I'm leaving them untapped is for the Court of Calling if need be. Okay, they're gonna use the tablet. Let's see what they hit here. I imagine they take the power plant unless they already have one in hand. Okay, they chose the Inventor's Fair, and they did already have a power plant. And they're going to play out a Pithing Needle here. Okay, and there's Yawgmoth. Yep, so Yawg is shut down here. All right, with that on the board now, I am still going to play out my Yawgmoth, and the line from here is going to be to look for a Liberator. That's what's going to help us get out of this situation. Swing for 1, pass the turn. A flipped Liberator in particular. Hopefully they don't hit Tron here. Okay, there's the Inventor's Fair. Knew about that. There's a Spellskite. Okay, and here I think we're just going to yield through the turn. My hope is on their turn they don't cast anything. We shall see. Unfortunate. Okay, they're casting something. Saga and a power plant. Okay, Saga into play. So they're up to 4 now. We're going to yield to the next end step here. And we're going to get our Liberator. Okay. I have to imagine they're probably going to be able to cast 2 spells on their turn. I'm guessing. Or cast a spell on their turn. So I'm actually going to play out this, and then I'm going to swing with the Yawg. And we'll hit them for 4. Alright, thinking went off the fair. Alright, so they have Tron now, so their mana is unlocked. Mystic Forge. And now they have basically infinite spells to cast. Alright, Ensnaring Bridge. Alright, so step 1 is going to be to get rid of this Spellskite, which we're going to get ourselves a Grist here. Alright, and they have 3 cards in hand. We're going to lead with an attack. I'm going to sacrifice the bird here and get rid of the Spellskite. Alright, and they're going to regenerate there. That is an interesting move. Okay, they might have just opened up this game for us here. They might have just given us a chance. Wow, I think that might have been a mistake on our opponent's part. Unless they can counter this, which they might. Wow, that was very aggressive. Very, very aggressive. All right, we're gonna swing with the team here. Get rid of this Pithing Needle, and now we're gonna draw a couple cards. That was a crazy sequence of events. I don't know why they did that. I think that was very aggressive on their part. All right, another Yawgmoth. We're gonna play out a fetch land and pass the turn. So I guess they could have another Pithing Needle off this Saga. We'll see if they do. I wonder if I just draw 2 more cards here before they have a chance to use that. I think maybe I do. And the hope here is that I draw into a Force of Vigor. No Force of Vigor. All right, a Welding Jar. So they don't have a second needle here. Okay, there's a Karn. Let's see what they got with the Karn here. They have another needle or a Sorcerer's Spyglass. Okay, there's the Spyglass. So I'm going to respond, target my graveyard here. We're going to draw 2 more cards. Okay, Beseiju, not bad. They do have a Welding Jar, so we are going to need to deal with that. Okay, they're emptying out their hand here. Okay, from here, the fact that they have the Mystic Forge is really not good for us. I wonder if we draw a card first. I know we're kind of helping the cause a little bit here, but I'm going to Thoughtseize, second Mystic Forge. Okay, play out the bird, and then we're going to pass the turn. think we're in trouble here. I think they exiled their own Pithing Needle. And the reason they did that is because they can Karn for it now, I believe. Yeah, once the engine of this deck gets going, it is hard to beat. I could Besage them off of one of their Tron lands. Could Besage them off of the Inventor's Fair. Guessing this is Pithing Needle, yes. So now they have double protection against our Yawgmoth here. Or they name Grist. They name Grist, okay. Stone Brain, sure. And they're going to name Force of Vigor with this. Yeah, matchups like this, having access to a third Force of Vigor is so big, so important. The other card we can draw to, did I bring in, I think I brought in the Crime Punishment. Yeah, that's definitely another card that will be useful here. So if we Crime Punishment for 1, well, I guess we need to Crime Punishment for 2, unfortunately. But it only hits 1 card. Well, it'll hit 2 cards. We'll get the jar off the top. But that doesn't even work, because if we Crime Punishment for 2, put the Spyglass into the graveyard, they'll relic it into exile, and they'll be able to find it again with Karn. Okay, I think we lose this one. I'm gonna pack it up. That was a hard-fought battle, but we did not get there. All right, we are 1-1. All right, everybody, what is up? We are back. This is match 3 of our Modern League with Demonic Tutors Yawgmoth list. We are playing against EGAD2894. Definitely seen this name before. Don't know what they're playing. We are on the play. Let's take it and let's go. All right, opening 7. Our opponent reveals a Gigantha first and foremost. Our opening 7 is definitely acceptable. We're going to keep this and see how this goes. Opponent keeps a 7-card hand as well. Good chance this Hierarch doesn't survive, but we'll see what happens here. We're going to be taking some damage off our mana base, which is a little bit unfortunate, unless we pull a non-painful land off the top. And just off the bat, this feels like Prowess, and I have to commend my opponent. I'm a big fan of their choice of basic mountain. That mountain is sick. Our bird gets bolted. Bird. Oh, I just realized that my camera wasn't on. My bad. You guys can see me now. Okay, cool. Our bird got bolted. That was in quotations. All right, there's our non-painful mana source, so we will play that out, and we will pass the turn from here. Our opponent's turn 2. Let's see what they do. I'm being kind of corny right now. They play out a Dragon's Rage Channeler. We'll see if they have a second land drop. I think they do because they're stalling. Not stalling, but contemplating, I should say. Alright, cool. So play out Steam Vents untapped. They take 2 off of that. And on our turn here, so we've got options. I can play out the Mire and pass. I don't think that's a particularly mana efficient play. I think we get the Grist down, or maybe we lead with an attack and then get the Grist down. So I think we'll start there. Start with an attack and see what happens. I will gladly have my opponent block here. And from here, we're going to play out our Grist, and I am going to plus my Grist. The reason I'm not minusing here, I acknowledge the fact that I likely could kill the Dragon's Rage, but it leaves my Grist very susceptible to removal at that point. And I'd like them to spend 2 spells to try to get this off the board, so I'm thinking more of a card advantage strategy as opposed to just 1-for-1ing them. So their turn, 6 cards in hand. And this deck can turn the corner very, very quickly, so we definitely need to be careful with our life total. We've taken 2 off of our peat land up to this point. My opponent is taking quite some time to make their next decision here. And I think if people watch my channel regularly, you watch my videos all the way through, you know how much I detest slow play. I think I'm going to start a little inside joke. I think I'm going to start messaging my opponents that we have more patients in the waiting room and we need to proceed with their care. So if they could please hurry up so we can get to our next patient, that would be appreciated. Our opponent's going on 2 minutes to make this decision here. Okay, tap mana, and we are bolting the Grist. Okay, so that's spell number 1. They put a lightning bolt in the graveyard. I like their choice of lightning bolts. Their stylistic choices are on point, I have to say that much. They got the old steam vents, they got the dope Odyssey mountain. I am a big fan. I've never actually seen that mountain before, but I really, really like it. Alright, so they play a land and then they pass the turn. I don't think that was the most efficient use of their lightning bolt there. So I think we're going to lead plus there. We're getting ourselves very close to a Yawgmoth. And I'm debating whether or not I want to play out this Hierarch. The reason being is because it is going to be susceptible to a removal spell. But I think the move here is if it seems like they're F6, I'm going to play it out. I'm just going to pass the turn. I'm going to leave a Court of Calling with the intention of potentially getting myself an Endurance, depending on what they do here. Okay, that comes into play tap, sure. Underworld Breach, sure. And they put a Mutagenic Growth in the graveyard. So I am going to lead and get my Endurance here. My solo Endurance. Alright, you have yourself a Breach. Alright, feels like we're pretty far ahead here. We have Yawgmoth online now, and I think they are not going to have a board by the time this is all said and done. So, I guess I can lead on Wall of Roots, build out my board a little more. We will take 1, but I think they're just going to die here pretty much. Okay, and they scoop. Pretty straightforward. I think that was the right move. Alright, post board. 3 Endurance, Scavenging Ooze. This would be one of those matchups where I would definitely prefer having Might over Liberator. I think we're going to bring in our Crime Punishment. Our Sanctuary might be too slow on the draw. I think I'm still going to bring in the Liberator just in case. It's also just like an early creature that I can deploy just to get a body in the way. I think this is reasonable here. Boarding out, I think Grist might be a little on the slow side. I think Messenger is probably a little too slow. I definitely don't like 4 Evos. I don't even like 3, to be honest. And then we're gonna shave Hierarch, I think. Do I go back up to a 3rd Evo? 3 Evo. I think we want birds over Hierarchs. Okay, let's go with this. Alright, game 2 against Prowess here. Our opening 7, I think, is a little too slow. I think we have to mulligan this. Our 6-card hand, no lands, and our 5-card hand is an abysmal keep. I think we're going to keep these 5 cards with the expectation that this bird is likely going to be dying. So we're going to have not much to work with. Alright, they cast a Mishra's Bauble, they target themselves, fetch land, and then they pass the turn from here. I play my bird out, it's going to get bolted. Okay, and I actually like that better. I'm going to lead on the wolf just because I don't want to give them a good use of their mana on our turn here. Steam Vents, they played out tapped. And then on their turn, let's see what they do here. 2nd Wooded Foothills. Best card they can play is probably like a Sprite Dragon. We'll see if this is what it is. Okay, Manamorphose, we're okay with that. 2nd Manamorphose. Feels like they're looking for something. Swift Spear, sure. And I'm actually not going to block this, just because they don't have a way to use to use it effectively right now, or pump it effectively, so we're just going to let it be. I'll play out my bird and pass the turn, and I'm going to wait to see what they do here before I make a move with regards to play on my turn. Like, we do have Court of Calling up for 0, so we can get our Dryad Arbor, and that might be the move, depending on what they do. Alright, so here's the Swift Spear. I'm going to block. Not going to give them extra damage here. If they play, like, threats... Alright, Lava Dart. So obviously it doesn't make sense for us to get a Dryad Arbor at this point. They have 4 cards in hand. Pretty slow start on their parts. I'm going to get a tapped Tomb, and hopefully we can pull a land here. Okay, that was pretty good. So from here, I've got a couple of options. So I can go swing for 2, Evo, get an Endurance, Evo, get a Grist. I think we're Evoing this away either way. And it's just what's better, Grist or Endurance. I think Endurance is probably better. I think Evo, or maybe I just Chord for 1 and get another Yawgmoth. Might be better. I think we're going to go with that for now. Like, if they have a Breach, what can they do with that? Morphos, draw a card. Breach is like a little lackluster right now, so I think we're going to wait one more time to get an Endurance into play. Bolt, targeting our Yawgmoth. Okay, so I'm just going to get another Yawgmoth here. Their sequencing is interesting. Sure. Depending on what they do, I may or may not block with the Wolf. I'm not 100% sure yet. If they commit something to the board pre-combat, I might hold off on playing something out. It's weird. It feels like we're very much in this game and we mulligan to 5 this game. Especially if we pull a land off the top, having Yawgmoth will just stonewall their attack, and then any creature we draw from that point forward is going to be good. With the exception of another Yawgmoth. Okay, I'm going to let this happen. I'm going to take the hit. And they put Gigantha into the hand. Okay. That's a pretty big show of weakness right there. Pretty big. Okay, and we pulled our 4th land. So this is really good for us. I'm going to lead with an attack. And we're going to play out our Yawgmoth here. We'll see if they Lava Dart the Wolf in response. They don't, which is surprising. We'll see if they Lava Dart the Yawgmoth and then bolt it. They've used 1 bolt so far, and they do have a Gigantha in hand. Now remember, this was a mulligan to 5. If we get to our turn with the Wolf in play, as is, I think we're favorites to win. Like, well, with this board state. Okay, Lightning Bolt the Yawg, sure. Okay, and then I'm guessing this is the Lava Dart coming. Alright, let's see what we draw into here. Okay, so that gives us another Yawgmoth. So I don't think we get rid of our Yawgmoth. We'll see if they kill it. Okay, they have a Breach, so they'll be able to bolt, bobble, maybe a second bobble. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yes, they can bolt, bobble, so they'll draw 2 cards and kill our Wolf here. We're gonna take quite a hit from the Swift Spear. This might be lethal. Okay, yeah, this is gonna be lethal here. Okay. Okay, you got us. Got us on our mold of 5. Game 3, I think I'm gonna bring the Sanctuary in, and we'll pull a cord out. And we'll give this a try. I haven't seen a Sprite Dragon yet. I think that's what it's called. Wonder if we go up to 3 Hierarch and 3 Birds. I'd have to imagine they're playing that card though. Okay, game 3 against Prowess. Always a close matchup. Alright, here we only have 1 land. This is very similar to where we started last game. Let's see. We're on the play. I think we have to get rid of this. I think I have to be disciplined. And I think this hand is better. We're going to keep this 7 and we'll dump one of our Hierarchs. Endurance is just so good in this matchup. I think it's... we definitely want Endurance in our hand. The more Endurance, the better. They kept a 7-card hand. Play out a Mountain, Lava Dart our Hierarch. Alright, play out our land. Don't really have much else to do here. Court of Calling was not a good draw. Alright, play out a Swift Spear. They are not playing out a land. We'll see if they have another land. Okay, they do play out a land post-combat. Shock, Soulscar Mage. Okay. I am not going to fetch here with the hopes of drawing another land. Alright, Geist is fine. Kind of stinks that we didn't fetch now, but I guess we wouldn't have drawn the Geist had we fetched, so I think I'm priced into getting a basic here for the sake of preserving life. And we will pass the turn. Nice little chump blocker here. Okay, their creature's now bigger than mine. Playing out a Bauble. I need to make sure I am not F6'd. We got 15'd in 1 turn last game with a Breach, so it definitely can happen again. And Endurance is the key to preventing that. Opponent is thinking 4 cards in hand. Breach is a really powerful card. It's amazing that it's just kind of picking up steam here in Modern. They're bolting me. Very aggressive. Lava Dart the Geist, sure. I wonder if they have lethal. Bolting the Geist, sure. So this is 10 damage as it stands. Mutagenic Growth. So this will put us down to 1. And then from here, I'm not so sure we actually have an out. At 1 life. Yeah, Misty Rainfar's not gonna do it. Alright. So we are 1 and 2. Not great. Alright, my friends, we are back. This is match 4 of our Modern League. We are currently 1 and 2. I am playing against SpawnOfVirtue. This is actually a VOD of my match, so I already played it. But I forgot to hit the record button, so we're gonna watch back the replay here. Let's see how it goes. We are on the play. Yes. I don't know exactly how these controls work. Pause. Okay, so opening 7, we kept, it's pretty straightforward keep. Our hand was really strong. So we'll play out the Hierarch with the hopes of turn 2, getting our wall and our Geist into play. Their turn 1, they lead on a wooded foothills and they pass the turn. Turn 2, we draw a second Wall of Roots, which gives us the opportunity for a really explosive turn here. So we can cast out Wall of Roots into a second Wall of Roots into a Young Wolf from here. They fetch EOT, get a Stomping Grounds past the turn, and if they don't do something on their next turn, on their turn, they're pretty much dead here. Play out a Saga, which is a little unusual. At this point I'm thinking like Jund Saga, and then they play Prosperous Innkeeper, our boy, and pass the turn. I have no idea what they're doing, what they're playing. Strange. We draw another Young Wolf, and at this point we can cast out everything in our hand and get a Yawgmoth and have 2 Undyers, 3 Undyers to give ourselves some insulation. And what's going to happen is I'm going to tutor here, and they're going to scoop. And that was game 1. Alright, so this is match 2 against SpawnOfVirtue. We are up 1 game. We are going to be on the draw here. Opening 7. We keep, our opponent keeps their 7-card hand. Our hand, it curves out nicely. It doesn't do anything too fancy, too special, but I think it is acceptable. Sideboarding, just so you're aware, because you didn't get to see the sideboarding in between the games, I basically sideboarded as if I was playing against Jund Saga. I'm not exactly sure what they're doing, but I brought in some Endurances and some Force of Vigors to deal with the Urza Sagas that I saw. They lead on a basic forest, play out a Viridian Longbow, which I guess is a tutor target with the Saga, and a Tormod's Crypt. So they're doing their artifact thing. We drew Outland Liberator, which laughs in the face of these things. Play out our Yawgmoth, pass the turn. They missed their second land drop, so this kind of gives us a window. And at this point, I'm going to protect the Liberator, I think. I don't want to let them know about that, so I'm going to play out the Geist, swing for 3, and then pass the turn from here. So in this situation, if they have a way to kill both of these at the same time, they can Tormod's Crypt and I can get punished for that. But I don't have reason to believe they can really do that yet until I see this Fury. And then I'm like, okay, you got me there. But at the same time, it's still a 2 for 2, so it's not the end of the world. They only have 2 cards left in their hand. And I just want to pause momentarily. This is going really fast. The card that they exiled from their hand was Grinning Ignus. I don't know about you, I have never seen that card before. I don't know why it's in their deck, but that is what they exiled. So, turn 3. Okay, we got our Grist into play. We'll plus the Grist. Yawgmoth goes to the graveyard. We pass the turn. They untap. Saga's going to go up to 2 here. On my turn, I also could have cast the Liberator and popped the Saga, which would have taken them off 2 lands, and I think that was a reasonable play. But I think the value of Liberator is going to be in the long game as opposed to the short game. Like, they don't really have much going on, and they need to hit a land drop for their Saga to really pose a threat. So I decided that going with the Grist was the better move, the more mana efficient move. They draw their 3rd land, and now they have Saga up. We draw into a Wall of Roots, and from here I think I wind up going with Wall of Roots into Liberator and plus the Grist, with the hopes that they can't cast a spell on their turn. So we'll see. You know, it kind of shuts them off the line of making 2 Saga tokens, because if they do make the second one, chances are they're not going to be casting a spell on their turn. And then they think about it, and then they reconsider, only make a mana, get a Pithing Needle, shut down our Grist, which here, there's almost as much of an argument to name the Liberator. They cast out a Stonebrain and name Yawgmoth, so now we are running our 43 cards that are left without any Yawgmoth, and we're going to just be chump blocking this construct until we can get our Liberator online. Attack with the Liberator on our turn and pass the turn, and this is a nice situation. We flip our Liberator into a Trap Breaker, and we can cast the Endurance at instant speed. So my hope is that they get punished here. They cast an Innkeeper, and then they go Innkeeper into a second Innkeeper. Once again, I'm not sure why the card is in their deck, but it's fine. I like the guy, I'm okay with it. And then they activate their Hearse and they attack. And in my mind, this is a very aggressive play. So they're exposing it to Endurance that should be on their radar, but it is not in this instance. So they give us a free opportunity to kill their Hearse, and we take it. So I choose not to shuffle. I don't know what they're doing exactly, so I'm just not going to put those cards back in their library. And we move to our turn. Worked out the way we wanted. I play out a Hierarch. I swing for 4. And then I play out the Young Wolf and the Blood Artist with hopes that they don't cast any spells on their turn. They were hellbent at that point, so I think it was a reasonable thing. They don't have any spells. They just equip the Longbow, kill my Blood Artist, and then from here, I think they are in deep trouble because Mr. Liberator is going to be flipping again. And I did block the construct, knowing that there was a possibility that my wolf get exiled, and I was okay with that. That was a trade that I was willing to make. So that wasn't a mistake. That was on my radar. So here we're going to attack them for 6, take out their Pithing Needle so we can get our Grist back online, and then they're kind of priced into I mean, they're in trouble. They're at 4 life at this point. We have, our board state is very wide. Their creatures are not threatening. We can pop our Trap Breaker to kill anything we want at any point. So they're in trouble. On their turn, they cycle a land, and I think that's the writing on the wall at this point that the game is likely over. My turn, Liberator is still flipped, so just an attack with it is going to kill their construct. I opt to minus the Grist, targeting the Innkeeper to take a blocker off the board, and this will just pose lethal at this point in that they just won't have enough blockers to deal with my 3 attackers. So we trigger the Trap Breaker when we attack, kill the construct, and they will take the lethal 4 damage to win the game. And that was it. Pretty straightforward. We're 2-2. Match 5, we are playing against High APM MILF. We are on the draw. Our opponent kept a 7-card hand. They have revealed a Gigantha. We're going to mulligan our opening 7. Our 6 is not much better. I think we need to go down to 5 here. Okay, our 5 is better. We will get rid of 2 cards. And I think we're going to get rid of Swamp and Tomb, I think. When I'm on a hand that's this low on cards, I like keeping Peatlands just because they can give me an extra card later in the game. I don't know if that mindset is the correct mindset or what I should be doing, but it makes sense in my head here. So they lead on to Scalding Tarn. Let's see if we're playing Prowess again here. Could be Prowess, could be Breach is another possibility. And looks like Prowess. I think last time we played Prowess in this league, we also mulliganed to 5 at least one of the games. And this mana base is pretty painful, so I don't think that's going to be a good thing. How do we feel about the new Monastery Swift Spear art in comparison to the original? I think I like the original better. It's very detailed. I can appreciate that. Alright, so we're going to fetch. We're going to get our basic forest, play out the Birds of Paradise, and then pass the turn. Expectation is that this is going to die on their turn, but it's the only play we have available, so we're going to take it. Pass it back. Alright, their turn 2. This deck is so explosive, it's so scary. And it looks like they're running a white splash. I know that the Star City event this past weekend, Prowess won the tournament, and the Prowess list was running a white splash as well. So I'm guessing this list that they're playing is what won the event. Okay, so they bobble us. So Spirit is a 2/3. They obviously have more to do because the Foundry came in untapped. And this can get pretty scary pretty quickly if they do have something, I don't know, like a Breach. Maybe not this turn, but next turn. You know, they're filling up their graveyard. They have a bunch of free spells, so it can get out of hand. And maybe I'm just a little shell-shocked from our previous match against Breach, or against Prowess, but it's a little scary. No blocks on the Swift Spear. We need our bird to survive. It's not going to survive, but I'm not just going to throw it out in front. Actually, it might survive, given the fact they didn't cast something there. Strange. They have a 2-drop, maybe in... Okay, I don't understand why they wouldn't do that before damage. It's a little confusing. I was thinking to myself there, it's like, oh, this is great. They only have 2 cards. And then I realized that they essentially have 2 additional cards because of the baubles. I thought I was doing well there for a second. Here, I think we're going to play out... So Geist gives us... I feel like if we play out the Wall of Roots and we block with the Wall of Roots, it's probably going to die, but I feel like we need to develop our mana a little bit more, so I think Wall of Roots is the play here. Like, in the chance that it doesn't die, we'll save ourselves damage and we'll have the mana for next turn. It's like the higher upside play, so that's why I'm going with that. And I think we need to take that sort of a play into consideration given the fact that we are on a 5-card hand and we are definitely behind right now. It's amazing how scary a 1/2 Prowess can be. Alright, that's Bauble number 3. This card is messed up, isn't it? Mishra's Bauble. It was on my radar as one of the cards that I thought could get banned earlier in the year when Luris was on the chopping block. I guess that was about a year ago. But then it was such a facilitator to so much degeneracy, and even now it still is. It's just like, it's kind of innocuous because it's, you know, it's not something that's going to win you the game per se, but it facilitates so much. All right, they're swinging. We're going to block. We can't afford not to. Yes, I will block. Let's see what you got. Let's see if they bolt post-combat again. I'm being mean. Being mean to our opponent here. Okay, we're doing it in combat. This is good. This is good. Get your triggers. Make them count. Okay, so we ate 5 damage there. Lava Dart does make it, though, that where our Grist is not something we can play on our next turn. Even if we pull the land. Okay, so it kind of works out either way. We're not going to take the 2 off that. This P land is killing us, though. These little extra chip shots of damage that we're taking are, they hurt. They definitely hurt. Yes, their graveyard is pretty chock full at this point. Double bolt, triple bobble, lava dart. I think there's a good chance we just lose this turn. We'll see. So they can pretty much dart the Geist for free, and then if they have one more removal spell, excuse me, they can just get rid of it. It'll be 2 Prowess triggers. We'll be down to 7. And then if they have something like Mutagenic Growth and one more spell, we'll just be dead. We'll see if it pans out that way. Morphos, okay. Another free spell, so to speak. Deck building here is just off the charts. Synergies, I'll tell you. Opponent is doing some math, trying to figure out if they can kill us or not. A large amount of thinking is occurring. A large amount of waiting is occurring. All right, we got a lava dart. We're doing it. There goes my Geist. And then, so they have 2 lava darts in the graveyard. So they can dart, kill my Geist. They'll have a 5/6. Okay, they let the mana go. Sure. I think I have to block. Game plan is to draw a land here. That's the game plan. Okay, we did not. So I think our only reasonable play is Grist, but Lava Dart's going to shut our 1/1 out of the picture here. That was the card we wanted to draw, the Boseiju. We'll see if this this Grist poses a distraction for our opponent. A diversion, if you may. I don't think so, though. They're bolting our face here. Lava Dart the insect. Okay, there's a breach. They have a gajillion cards in their graveyard. I'm going to scoop it up. We don't need to see them go through the motions here. All right. Game 2. Income our Endurances. Income our Ooze. Our Crime Punishment. And I think Sanctuary on the play. Maybe. Probably not, actually. Grist is probably too slow. I don't like 4 Evos. I don't like Messenger. I don't love 4 Court of Callings. I also don't love 8 Dorks. I think we will bring in the Sanctuary on the play, and I'll shave a bird. I'll shave a Hierarch, just in case I need a flying blocker. And we'll go with this. I may be misevaluating the matchup, bringing the Shaper Sanctuary. But the main thing I want out of this is for me to be able to hit my land drops. To be able to curve into my creatures. So, like if I miss a turn casting a creature on turn 1, to be able to have that in play turn 2, or to have that in play with a creature or 2 on turn 2, even if they do get rid of my creatures, I feel like that will fuel my next couple of turns. So opening 7 is solid. Our mana doesn't deal us any damage, which I really like. We have an Endurance, which is strong. Scavenging Ooze can gain us some life. I like it. They're on a 6-card hand at least. They mulligan to 5 cards. Okay. So you're saying there's a chance. And they keep their 5. Okay. Let's do it. So we will lead on our bird, as is expected. Pass the turn. So if they can get rid of our bird and our Wall of Roots, there is the potential that they can kind of cripple us a little bit. They fetch, get a Steam Vents, Soulscar Mage. That I'm okay with. From here, play out my land, and then I guess the question is, do I I think I use my mana efficiently here. Wall of Roots into Ooze, and then pass the turn. So they leave with a Scalding Tarn, fetch for a Steam Vents. Move the stack to the side here. Second Soulscar Mage, and a Swift Spear on top of that. So they got creatures. They're not very big right now, but... And once again, I think you... maybe you don't attack. Okay, from here, I think we play out our Geist, and then have Endurance up on their turn. So we got a good old-fashioned standoff right now. Nobody's really doing much of anything for now. The fact they have 3 Prowess creatures, though, could pose a very big problem if they can triple or quadruple spell in a turn. I think next turn we're likely going to need to grist and get at least one of these off the board. Okay. Yeah, this is getting a little scary. They're thinking about it. Okay, swinging with everybody. Okay, I think we're going to play out the Endurance here. The thing is, if they bolt the Endurance, I'm going to shuffle their graveyard just for purposes with Breach. I don't want them to have extra cards. So I'm going to block 3, I think. Just like this. I'm anticipating the Endurance is going to get bolted here. The Endurance will die, the Geist will die, the Wall will die, and I'll take a hit for 2. Alright, Mutagenic Growth. So that's going to be a 4/5 now. Sure. Okay, land actually was not a bad draw. Okay, so I think I'm just going to pass the turn from here, and then just start to build... grow my Ooze a little bit. They have 2 cards in hand. No attack here. Right, so they're bolting my Ooze in response to me eating. I'm going to respond with a fetch here. And get myself a forest. And then I'm just going to... Not sure if they know how this works or if they have another removal spell. They're thinking. We'll eat our Endurance here. I guess this kind of stinks a little bit because the Soul Scar is going to make it down to a 1/1. And then we're going to eat the Bolt out of the graveyard here. Yeah, so our Ooze is kind of tiny. Alright, we got lots of Endurances. Lots of Endurances. And I think I'm actually going to play out my Grist, and the reason being is because it plays really well with the Ooze. There goes the Shaper Sanctuary. They have 1 card in hand. Draw for turn. And they just scoop. Wow. That is really surprising. I think that might have been a little premature. I don't know what they had in their hand, but it seemed early. I don't think we want the Sanctuary on the draw. I think I'm going to bring in the Liberator. Maybe. Or maybe the Evo. 4th Evo. No, I think I'm going to bring in... None of it really feels great. Maybe just the Grist. Go back up to 3 Grist. On the draw, I just don't think I can afford to play the Sanctuary. I just don't think that that's how we win the game. Okay, so opening 7 here. We have 0 lands. We can't keep this. They kept their 7-card hand. Our 6. Oh, I think I have to keep this, but I don't think this is going to go very well. We do need to find another land, and if we don't, I think we are likely going to lose. Our hands have not been particularly kind to us in this matchup. Game 2, our hand was pretty good, but here, this is just like not what we want to be doing. Play out a bird to start with and pass the turn. We really need to hope for a land off the top here. We dodge a Lava Dart, pull a land. They kept a 7-card hand though, so like, I don't think this is going to go well. Alright, there's the Lava Dart. Pretty much invalidates our entire hand here. Yeah, these are not the creatures you want to be seeing in your hand when you're playing against a deck with Lava Dart. Take it for 2, we'll see if it's more than that. Okay, I can deal with 2. Land? Not a land. It's actually not terrible though. At least buys us some time. Kind of. Buys us 1 turn. Okay, they have a 3rd land, 4 cards in hand. We might need this Endurance at some point. Okay, that card is really annoying. Portable Hole. Wasn't expecting that one. Sheesh. The thing is now too, like this puts the Sprite Dragon out of endurance range, because like if they attack him with the Sprite Dragon, they can Lava Dart the endurance. And then this is assuming we even get to a point where we can cast an endurance. And they click through their attack. I wonder if our opponent is new to Moto, as they're making some fairly rudimentary mistakes. Okay, I guess we play out a Yawgmoth again. Like Hierarch really doesn't get us anywhere. It doesn't make sense for me to play that out. Another Soul Scar. Another Portable Hull. I don't know if the deck that won the SCG was playing Portable Hull. I know they were playing Prismatic Ending. I don't recall seeing this in the match or two that I was watching, but maybe I missed it. Strange they're using the Mutagenic Growth this turn too. It's a point of damage that they won't have next turn. 6, 9, 7. Yeah, I mean we're almost dead. I mean this is just a formality at this point, but oh, there we go, right on time. Right on time. Just what we needed. Pain costs any spell. I think this is lethal. So this is 5, 7, 8. So it's just lethal with the Lava Dart targeting my face. They didn't need to do it that way, but that's fine. And that does it. That does it. All right. All right, so that was my first league in a very long time with Demonic Tutors, Yawgmoth list. And I think over the course of that league, we saw some tough matchups. I think Prowess is a challenging matchup, especially given the way it's currently built, especially our last opponent who's running Portable Hull. I don't know what that was all about, but I think we had some challenging matchups. I think we had some bad draws. We mulliganed to 5 in those challenging matchups. So it's going to make it really, really hard to win in those situations. But I mean, overall, the main deck, it really isn't that much different than what I'm doing. The only two cards that are, I think it's 2 cards off. So -1 Evo, +1 Endurance, -1 Wall, +1 Innkeeper, and then the mana base is a little bit different. But I mean, that shouldn't account for a huge difference in terms of how the game ones play out. I think the big difference between what I do and what he does really comes from the sideboard and our approaches there. Particularly the 4 Thoughtseizes is really, I think, the biggest discrepancy between our lists. You know, I often get asked why I'm only running 2 Thoughtseizes in my sideboard, and the reason being is because, to be honest, Thoughtseize, in my opinion, is not the most impactful card when you cast it. It serves a purpose, but oftentimes it's not the difference between winning the game and losing the game. And in most matchups where I'm bringing the card in, I only want 2. I don't want a full play set. And I think if you asked DT, he would probably say differently, because just having watched his stream and watching how he plays, he approaches it very differently in that matchups where I wouldn't be bringing Thoughtseize in, he is. For instance, Living End, I think he brings in a full play set, I bring in 0. So different approaches. Besides that, you know, 2 Necromentia fairly stock, 2 Force of Vigor. I run 3 over the Crime Punishment. Sanctuary, it really didn't do anything. I haven't tested the card, so I really can't speak on whether or not it's worthwhile or not. I run a Might over a Liberator, and I've kind of settled in that I do like the Might better. But it's essentially the same effect. Slightly different, you know, niche situations where one might be better than the other. I'm running the Ooze, I'm running a playset of Endurance. So not too much different, but yeah, I think it was just some bad beats that league, and I think that yeah, maybe the next time I test this list, we can have some better luck. So thank you for tuning into the video. I will be back here on YouTube on Monday, so keep an eye out for that video. And I'm posting Monday, Wednesday, Friday every week, shorts on Tuesday, Thursday, so keep an eye out for that. Give me some thumbs up, some comments. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe as well. And with that being said, free resources, they're in the description. I'm going to check out. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for tuning in, and be well.